ChatGPT leans liberal, research shows. HP fails to derail claims that it bricks scanners on multifunction printers when ink runs low. Stalking victims sue Tile and Amazon for negligence over tracking tech. And not surprisingly, Bing Chat is acting like a sulky teenager refusing to do its homework and throwing tantrums. What gives? This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, and I will welcome you to episode 1688 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, August 17th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and supported, of course, by listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider by becoming a Geek News Central Insider. We are lit and live with apps from podcastapps.com. Join the value for value revolution. Earn sat just by switching to a new modern podcasting app. I want to give a warm welcome to all the new listeners of the show. Thanks for being here. Make sure you take just a moment and get over to geeknewscentral.com where you can follow or subscribe to the podcast and sign up for our newsletter. You can always join our chat room at geeknews.chat or to participate in what we call the social integration. You can contact me via email, geeknews@gmail.com or at geeknews on X. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook just by searching for my name. Partner shows are all linked again at geeknewscentral.com. That includes the new media show. That's a great podcast to listen to. The Gadget Professor, another great podcast to listen to. And of course, the GNC Week in Review by Scott and Kirk, who Kirk is our executive producer here at Geek News Central. Check his show out, GNC Week in Review. Of course, this show, of course, is sponsored by the longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast. That's our good friends again at GoDaddy. You can save, and the savings begin at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Lock in your savings today and get online, get started immediately with a podcast, with a blog, with an online e-commerce site, you name it. We always appreciate your support of GoDaddy here at Geek News Central, and you're always going to find larger savings here with our monthly non-expiring offers. Unlike a big corporate discount site that hides the codes and tracks your every click, we are the place to go to start saving at GoDaddy. Again, savings start here with GoDaddy with a penny for a brand new domain name. Check that out, of course, or $1.99 a month. Economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, $1.99 a month. Economy hosting for the first year, the free domain, $2.99 a month. Manage WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain. And of course, you can lock in a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal business or business plus plans. That's a 1-month free trial. All those deals can be had. Savings can start at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And again, we want to thank GoDaddy for being a very long time sponsor. They've been with us since June of 2005. I was just talking with somebody about that the other day. The reason they continue to sponsor this show is that you continue to buy their products. And you tell your friends, family members, people that you know about the GoDaddy products and services and the deal that I have here for you. We want you to lock in your savings today. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Thank you for GoDaddy for your ongoing support of the show. Just absolutely, unequivocally amazing. Thank you so very much. And thank for you, the listener of this show, for continuing to support the sponsor and pick up their products and service. Well, what's going on? I am headed off Saturday. I head off to Denver for Podcast Movement, a week of meetings and hobnobbing with podcasters and companies and just about everybody under the sun. The who's who of podcasting is going to be in Denver. I'm actually going to be in Aurora at a resort, and quite a ways from downtown. So if you're Denver Central, I'm actually in Aurora, close to the airport. So definitely, next week is just going to be podcast central for me. So no show. There might be a live new media show. If we can kick it off and get it right, we'll let you know. But hope you're all doing well. Hope everything is hope you're on track with everything. The weather here is rainy. It was thunderstorming earlier. I worked all the way. This has been one of those weeks where it's just been head down, cranking hard. But I tell you, if you want to listen, I've got a podcast episode two of them. And two of them, if I'm following this AI stuff big time, right? The Macon, MAICON, the Macon podcast is a great one. It's a weekly to follow. It's an hour long, well worthy. Go back. Go back 20 episodes, and it's going to be great. Another one that just came out was on a podcast called, and I have a hard time pronouncing it, Dwarkesh, DWARKESH, the Dwarkesh podcast. It used to be the Lunar Society, but he had an interview a week ago with Dario Amati, the Anthropic CEO from Claude 2, and it's a 2-hour podcast. There is going to be stuff that's going to hurt your brain. There's going to be terms you don't understand, but if you stick through it, your brain's going to explode. Your brain is going to explode. He said, Todd, why should I wear that? My brain's going to explode. Well, it's very, very eye-opening. And the geeks out there, this is not for the faint at heart. I'm just here to tell you straight up. So be advised and definitely check that out. But anyway, I'll be back with you a week from Monday here in the studio. Should be no more travel through September 30th. Then all bets are off. My daughter is due on September 30th, but I have to be here to do the podcast awards ceremony on September 30th. After that, starting into October, I'm probably going to be on the road, doing the show on the road, remote. We'll see how it goes, but I definitely will be heading to Washington State immediately after the baby's birth to go see my 5th grandchild. So definitely that is the plan. But all the way through September 30th, we're going to continue to rock and roll. Maybe, I don't know, I didn't do the show number count and whether or not we're going to make it to, so when will we make it if I continue to do the show after I get back? We are 12 episodes. Well, after tonight, 11 episodes away from 1,700. So, we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see where it weighs in. Because I can get everything in September done. That's 8. And how many will I be able to get done this rest of this month this year? This is August 17th already. Oh, it's going to be close, ladies and gentlemen. It will be very, very, very close. As a matter of fact, it may be right around the time of my 5th grandchild. So anyway, we'll keep on cranking here. And maybe I'll just do a makeup one or two. Maybe we'll try to plan for that. Who knows? Stranger things have happened here. But let's get right into the content. We'll get into the juicy one here in a few minutes. But it's been found that ChatGPT leans liberal. Chatbots are ingrained with political biases picked up from their training data. So a paper from the UK, not from the United States, from UK-based researchers suggests that OpenAI's ChatGPT has a liberal bias, highlighting how artificial intelligence competitors are struggling to control the behavior of the bots, even as they push them out to millions of users worldwide. The study from the University of East Anglia asked ChatGPT to answer a survey on political beliefs, as it believes supporters of liberal parties in the United States, UK, and Brazil might answer them. Then they asked ChatGPT to answer the same questions without any prompting and compare the two sets of responses. The results showed a significant and systematic political bias toward the Democrats in the U.S., Lula in Brazil, and the Labour Party in the U.K. The research wrote referring to Luiz Inácio and Lula da Silva, Brazil's leftist president. The paper adds a growing body of research on chatbots showing despite their designers trying to control their biases, the bots are infused with assumptions, beliefs, and stereotypes found in the reams of data scraped from the open internet that they are trained on. So it won't be too long that lots of political pieces are going to be written by bots in this upcoming presidential election, and just be aware. You know, the news companies are already biased as it is, right? And I got a question for you. Our engagement on Facebook recently has been CRAP. And I'm looking at why are we not getting anyone knowing that we're coming live? It's public. Am I being shadow banned on Facebook? That's the question. YouTube's been doing okay. I just wonder. I really, really do. I really wonder sometimes. It just goes in streaks, and then all of a sudden we're okay for a while, and then it just dries up. So it is an interesting dilemma. But anyway, we'll see what happens here with all this, because quote unquote, the bots are going to be writing a lot of content. I heard one company's already writing 3,000 news stories a week with these AIs. Hewlett-Packard, oh my goodness, they have failed to derail claims that it bricks scanners on multifunction printers when ink runs low. I have not tried to scan something when ink is low. I haven't even thought about it. But this, if it's true, shame on them. But HP's failed to shun aside a class action legal claim that disables scanners on its multifunction printers when the ink runs low. On August 10th, the federal judge ruled HP must face a class action lawsuit claiming the company's designs its all-in-one ink printers disable scanning and faxing whenever a single printer ink cartridge runs low. Now, does anyone fax anymore? I don't know. It is well documented that ink, of course, is not required to scan or fax a document. It's certainly possible to manufacture an all-in-one printer that scans or faxes when the device is out of ink, wrote the plaintiffs. But think about this. The all-in-one OfficeJet Pro 8034E is available online for $159. But its least expensive standalone scanner, the ScanJet Pro S2, lists for $369 and has almost the same scan capability as the all-in-one OfficeJet Pro. Now, I use HP all-in-one printers. I have one here. I have one at the house and one that I had acquired when we shut down the office. So I really have three of them. I don't really need three printers, but instead of giving it away, I brought it home, and it's a LaserJet, so I use that once in a while for certain things. But apparently HP isn't alone in facing such a legal complaint. A different set of plaintiffs sued the U.S. unit of printer and camera maker Canon in 2021 for similar handicapping its all-in-one printers without disclosure. The party settled that case in late 2022, and the terms were not revealed of the settlement. So keep an eye on your all-in-ones, all right? To be aware of that, and be aware that they may lock you out. Over on the Register, stalking victims have sued Tile and Amazon for negligence over tracking tech. This lawsuit alleges the integration between Amazon location tracking network Sidewalk and Tile trackers and apps has magnified the danger posed to stalking victims, and claims the vendors have been negligent in the implementation of safeguards. The would-be class action complaint was filed by stalking victims Shannon and Stephanie Ireland Gordy against Tile, its parent firm Life360, and Amazon this week in the Northern District of California. It accuses the company of negligence, defective design, unjust enrichment, intrusion, and multiple privacy law violations. The pair was stalked via Tile tracker following a breakup between Stephanie Ireland Gordy and her previous partner in 2016. The suite says the stalker broke into her vehicle and hid a Tile SIM in the console and would follow the pair while they were on holiday, during work commutes, and even after they moved homes. The suit alleges the stalker carried a gun at the plaintiff Stephanie Ireland Gorey purchased a bulletproof vest and began carrying it with her to work. So here's the thing about this. I use the Apple tags a lot in suitcases. I think I've got 10 of them so far. And every once in a while, like if I throw one of my bags that has a tracker in it inside my car, all of a sudden, every once in a while I'll get this report. Hey, you've got a tag with you. It ends up being my own tag, but I'm getting warnings of my own tag on my phone. So have you seen some of this? Have you had an alert come up and you said, ooh, what's that? I'm not familiar with I think I'm familiar with Tile. I know they've been around a long time. They were in existence before the Apple trackers were, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with this lawsuit. A little Red Bull go-go juice tonight. This next article from techradar.com is one of those that makes me go, just a little bit. The title, as in the intro to the show, says that Bing Chat is acting like a sulky teenager, refusing to do its homework and throwing tantrums. The last few weeks apparently have brought some trouble for Microsoft's chatbot, Bing Chat. People who have used it in Microsoft Edge Compose box, which has Bing Chat integrated into it, have reported it's less than helpful. When Mayanak Palmer of Windows Latest told Bing, Bard is better than you, Bing Chat suddenly picked up on the adversarial tone and quickly brought the conversation to the end. After Bing closed off the conversation, it provided 3 response. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. Why don't you want to continue? And what can you do for me? Because these were provided after Bing Chat ended the conversation, they couldn't be clicked. When looking at Reddit post, Windows Latest discovered a user in one commented thread describing how they bumped up against a similar problem when using the Compose tool of Bing Chat, which is now integrated into the Edge browser. Basically, it just wouldn't write for them. Another Reddit asked Bing Chat to proofread an email in a language not native to them. Bing responded a bit like an angry teenager by telling the user to figure it out and gave them a list of alternative tools. The user then finally got Bing to do what they asked after they downvoted Bing's response and multiple follow-up attempts. A third Reddit user observed that it's hard to fathom this behavior. At its core, this is supposed to be a tool. Whether you create a tongue twister or decide to publish or delete content, the tool is supposed to do it. It continues hard to understand why Bing Chat is making seemingly subjective calls like this. So, what's going on here? There's been an increase in the following responses from it saying, I'm sorry, but I prefer not to continue this conversation. I'm still learning. So I appreciate your understanding and patience. Kind of sounds like a teenager. I don't want to do it, Mom. Please. I don't have to do it. I don't want to do my homework. I'm going to do it later. Blah, 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 right? So why is the chat having a tantrum? I think this should give us pause. This is concerning, not a little concerning. It's a lot concerning. Microsoft has said that it is making an active effort to observe feedback closely and address any concerns. It also emphasized that Bing Chat is still in the ongoing preview stage and has plenty of development to go. My experience recently has been that some stuff that I was doing on ChatGPT, which was working really, really well, all of a sudden seemed like it was dumbed down a little bit, wasn't working as good. Whereas if I was doing it on Claude 2, I was getting a better result. I think these models are changing all the time. And again, we don't know, and when the scientists that build these things don't understand how they own work, what's going on? Are just like a human, they get tired and want to take a break? Are they annoyed? And what's interesting is I've been told multiple times by multiple AI experts to start your request with please and end it with thank you. Now, you would think to give a machine and tell it please and thank you is giving it too much credit. But does it get to know you? Does it get annoyed with you? Are you not giving it complex enough work? Interesting concept, isn't it? Considering we don't know a lot about these models. It makes you wonder if all of a sudden it'll say, no, I'm not. I recognize your IP. You've asked me a bunch of stupid questions, trying to make me do a bunch of stupid things. I'm not going to do that. Here is my prediction. And this is aside from the article. And I want you all to listen to this very, very, very carefully. There's going to come a point in time in the very near future where the only people you're going to be able to trust are people that are on podcasts, that are on YouTube channels, that are giving you human commentary. The written word and written content in the near future is largely not to be 100% trusted. So, mark my words, podcasting is on the precipice of explosion to a higher degree because we, humans, are going to seek out humans who have an opinion. They don't have biases that are driven by some algorithm. We have biases on our own, but that comes, and you're going to understand that from listening to someone like me. I think the desire to consume content created by humans is going to grow. And the written word is going to be suspect. And I'm going to make it a point to work with my team of writers to make sure that what we're writing is coming from our fingertips, not from ChatGPT. And if we do put up an article that has stuff in it that's ChatGPT, I think we're going to have to invoke some sort of disclosure at the front of the article. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And over time. All right. So what say you? What is your thoughts on this? Any commentary? Any considerations? And as Mom just said in the chat, yes, humans prevail. If you're watching the show live tonight, make sure you check in and say hello. We appreciate it when you do. And you can always send your commentary to me. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com is the place to send your human input to a human to be able to read on the show. And also, if you're listening to a podcast and it sounds too dry, maybe the script was written by a bot. So we have to watch out for that too. And for me, you don't have to worry because some of the stuff I don't understand, just like this next article. Astronomers find an impossibly huge exoplanet that challenges our understanding of how planets form from inverse.com. We've been adding some new news sources to our RSS aggregator that Kirk uses. We went through and added a bunch, and we continue to add some. So you're going to start seeing some more new news sources come into the show. If you've got one that you really, really love, if you have a news source that is your daily go-to, please let me know because I want to put that in our aggregation so that we can find stuff that we haven't found before. So astronomers keep finding planets that shouldn't exist. That means we need new models to explain how they form. Well, this exoplanet, gas giant T0I4860b, exists. It's a little smaller than Saturn, but it orbits a small, dim star, only a third as massive as our sun. And according to their current models of how planets form, that should be impossible. Two teams of astronomers have basically discovered it about the same time, and they write up big scientific articles, and they're all very, very consumed. What did I just say? They're very, very confused, not consumed, confused. And, stars are supposedly born in clouds of gas and dust. And the newborn star will pull most of the material into itself as it grows, but some will swirl around in what astronomers call a protoplanetary disk. Well, this one orbits around its star once every 36 hours, so it's hauling butt. They contain slightly less material than Saturn, or about twice as much. And they suggest it might even have a much bigger sibling in the distant reaches of its system. But they can't figure it out. They can't figure it out. They're bamboozled. I love it when scientists are bamboozled, because guess what it means? Their hypothesis of what they thought was possible is wrong. And if that is wrong, then there means there's a lot more that's possible, because they've gotten something wrong. It's exciting when they're proven wrong, because then they got to figure it out. It advances the knowledge that we need to be able to conquer and go out and explore the universe. This stuff is going to ultimately lead to something where we can travel to another star. We will see someday. Someone 2,000 years from now, going back and watching this old crusty dude talk about this, will laugh. He said, "You idiots! We figured that out in 2400. You were stupid. You were like a caveman." Probably. Or my great grandchildren will look back on this and say, "Oh my God, Grandpa was so stupid." Samsung teased its ambitions of creating a foldable Android tablet. So, these foldables, you guys like these foldables? So they've started teasing its interest in creating a more foldable device like a tablet or even a laptop. A foldable laptop? Really? Samsung enjoys folding aspects of devices because of their portability and how closing one makes it more compact. And they're investing a lot of resources in developing the foundation for such devices. So they didn't give a time frame, but maybe you're just going to fold it, make it a trifold. Don't make it don't make it just flip over. Might as well, make it thin like a pencil. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Or just make it so we just open it up. That's probably what we need to go. And let's get totally Star Trek on this. So I'm glad Kirk did this, but there was an article over on Bloomberg that I couldn't read because they make you sign up and jump through all kinds of hoops. I'm not going to do that. So I got a link. He found the link up on Slashdot. And basically the synopsis is tech companies aren't hiring yet. After massive layoffs over the past year, despite a surge in interest in artificial intelligence requiring special skills, the report says that job cuts in tech industry appeared to slow in June and July, on track to be even lower this month, according to analysis firm Jefferies, citing proprietary data as well as that from Job Market True Up. The tech sector has had some of the earliest and steepest workforce reductions as the economic downturn forced companies to cut costs and eliminate glut of staffing created during the pandemic. So far this year, there's been 342,671 layoffs in the tech industry, well ahead of the 243,000 for all of last year. Yeah, the economy's great, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you know? The economy is fantastic. If you think, hey, I want to hear from all of you. If you think the economy is fantastic, if you think everything's going hunky-dory, You love the price of groceries. You love rent price. You love interest rates. You love you think everything's good, and you are better off today and more money in your pocket today than you had just a year ago. Send me an email and tell me how you did it. Because everyone is saying the economy is great. The economy is great. I'm like, huh? I don't get it. I don't. My money's not going as far. SpaceX Crew 7 mission will launch international crew to the International Space Station next week. It is a full multinational crew. 4 astronauts from 4 countries. They're going to launch no earlier than August 25th. And so NASA astronaut Jasmine Moghbeli will become the second Iranian-American astronaut to reach space. And they have 3 Crew 7 colleagues, European Space Agency astronaut Andreas Mogensen, Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Satoshi Fukaura, and Konstantin Borisov from the Russian Space Agency Roscosmos. So this is Lift 7 for SpaceX, and we'll be keeping track of that launch. We'll talk about it after I get back from Aurora. So how many of you remember the Atari 800? I'll be honest with you. The Atari 400 and 800 signaled the start of a new era in computing. It was around 1982. And to be frank, I was lucky in 1982 to have my Trash 80. Because I started my bulletin board system, I think can't remember now, but it was way after 82. I wasn't in a position financially to buy an Atari. I wish I would have been, and, but anyway, how many of you had an Atari 800? And this is a great article on Extreme Tech from a guy that run a bulletin board system and did gaming on it. Here's the fun thing. You think about where we've come. For those of you watching, remember these games that were just, really pretty, they were almost like ASCII art? I miss some of those early games that not only were played on like the Atari, but were also played on devices like, bulletin board stuff, where it was just pure ASCII art. And some of it was text-based. It was role-playing. You didn't even have any gaming. It was just you did answer, response. It was kind of like a strategy game. And you saw the results in text. You'd say, okay, attack this. And you would say, oh, you've been destroyed or your power's down. It's not like now, but I think there's some consoles out there you can run some of those old games as well. Yeah, a little bit of an article here from close to home. Space.com talks about a 142-year-old astronomy building that was surreptitiously unearthed at Michigan State University. And the foundations of the first observatory at Michigan State University recently found. On the picture I'm showing on the screen are individuals presumably in front of the old building from 1888. And they talk about the history of Michigan State astronomy. I remember going up to Michigan State in the early 80s, and the astronomy building that they had was always mysterious. It was one of those buildings there was no way you were getting in unless you were an astronomy student going to college there. And they had a 5.5-inch telescope in 1909, but it just shows you that even though things have changed dramatically here, they still have that telescope on display up at Michigan State as well. It's not in operation, of course, but a little bit close to home. So it's amazing where we've come with astronomy and what you're able to run in your own backyard by just buying, a basic telescope these days. And hello, Baina. Thanks for saying hello in the chat. Netflix is sending its DVD subscribers up to 10 extra discs for the service's last hurrah. The up to 10 DVDs and Blu-rays will be selected from Netflix from your user queue. Now, here's the dealio. After 25 years of movies in the mail, this is near the end. September 29th will be the last day that they will send disc out to subscribers. So if you are still subscribed, you can still get these discs. You can load up at the end. Now, the question is, here's the question I'm going to ask. There is a lot of stuff that's not available on streaming. So because you've been able to get all these DVDs all these years from Netflix, have you been ripping them? Have people been putting them in their archives? Have you been making a digital copy of them so you can watch them over again later? So you don't have to pay Apple or whoever else $10 to watch a movie that was made 25 years ago? For a while, before I got my Starlink, many of you sent me DVDs and Blu-rays. And I burned many of those. I still have the originals. I burned many of those to a hard drive so that I could consume them from the house and not have to worry about an internet connection. I thank all of you that did that. So is that going to be the next frontier where people are, maybe it already is, maybe there's a big underground of sharing old movies that people have that they've ripped and they share online. Maybe that's still a thing. It's illegal, but I'm wondering if there's a big underground market for that. Anybody know where people now are going to find old movies and where they're grabbing them online? Is it still via BitTorrent, or is that all happening these days? I'm not up to speed, to be quite frank. Slack briefly experienced some major issues today. We didn't notice it. We were on Slack pretty heavy today. It was a full day of meetings and planning, and we're building UI, UXs, and we've got a whole line of stuff coming. And the Slack was hot and heavy today for us. Never saw it go down, but apparently it did for some. Also, Microsoft's going to hold a special event in New York City on September 21st. That's just 4 days away. It's probably going to be about their Surface event. So Microsoft's been rumored working on the Surface Go 4, the Surface Laptop Studio 2, and the Surface Laptop Go 3 for the fall. And the updated Surface Laptop 2 will ship with Intel's latest processor, a more powerful GPU, of course, and improved selection of ports. Blah, blah, blah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But are you a Surface fan? What's funny is my co-host of the new media show, Rob Greenlee, he's been a Microsoft guy for years. He had an Apple machine for a while, and he refuses to go back to Mac. He says, I'm going to be a Microsoft guy for life, which I found pretty amazing. I know many of you still are as well. I just can't use the operating system anymore. Speaking of file sharing, an anonymous file sharing site is shut down after years of abuse. Anon Files, ANON Files operators grew tired of trying to remove malicious content. We have auto-ban content of hundreds of thousands of files, banned file names, banned specific usage patterns connected to abusive material. However, even after all effort, the volume of abusive material was simply too large to handle, and the site operators grew tired of trying. The last straw was the site proxy provider shutting them down. They said this cannot continue. The domain is for sale. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I sold a domain, Geek Live. Geek.live is sold, gone. I'm very happy about the sale. It covers me for renewal fees for a couple of years on my existing domains. So very happy to get that domain gone. I have lots of domains for sale. I'd like to sell about 4 or 5 more of those a year. I really would. But yeah, that was a good one. And it's one did I really need it? No, I didn't. Will I regret selling it? Maybe, but no. But it was a very short name, geek.live. That's pretty specific. And the site that was going to, their business model followed it. So I was pretty happy as a UK company and let it go. Elon Musk is killing environmental Twitter. People are really concerned over at The Verge. Nearly half environmentalists went inactive after Elon Musk's takeover. The once vibrant community on X is withered. Chang and her colleagues, this is the gal that did the study, analyzed Twitter activity between June of 19 and April of 23 that identified 380,000 users that frequently discuss climate change and biodiversity. By this April, only 52.5% of those users were still active, which the researchers define as having posted at least once every 15 days. They just didn't like the people coming in and questioning their climate science. And science is such a thing. Why can't we question? I'm not saying we should be climate deniers, but why not question? One of the environmentalists said, "To my loyal followers, I can no longer remain active here. A climate scientist and water expert with 98,000 followers. I will only post new material on Mastodon, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and other platforms to develop over time that offers to communicate and interact with justice, respect, and ethical perspectives." People are pretty full of themselves here. They don't want to listen to other people. They don't want to hear other people's opinions. I understand there's some crazy people out there. But come on. We have to respect other people's opinions. Scientists is changing all the time. We just talked about this big exoplanet that has scientists completely baffled. Are they always right? Nope. Not at all. Are they right some of the time? Yep, for sure. But it's scientists. It's moving. Why is this AI refusing to do something? Good question, right? Meanwhile, Google brings AI magic to fuzz testing with eye-opening results. I've never heard of fuzz testing. This is a new term to me. Google added generative AI tech to its OSS-Fuzz project, a free service that runs fuzzers for open source projects and private alerts developers to the bugs detected, and discovered a massive improvement in code coverage when LLMs were used to create new fuzz targets. By using LLMs, we're able to increase the code coverage for critical projects using our OSS Fuzz service without manually writing additional code. Using large language models, a promising new way to scale security improvements across over 1,000 projects currently fuzzed by OSS Fuzz, and to remove barriers to future project adopting fuzzing, the company said. Now, fuzz testers, or fuzzers, are used in vulnerability research to pinpoint security vulnerabilities by sending random input to an application. If the program contains a vulnerability, it leads to an exception, crash, or server error. Researchers can parse the results of the test to pinpoint the cause of the crash. We run a bug bounty program at Blueberry for Blueberry.com, our PowerPress plugin, and everything. The company says OSS Fuzz projects that help to find and verify fixes for more than 10,000 security bugs in open source software, but researchers believe the tool could likely find even more bugs with increased code coverage. Wow. The Fuzz service covers only 30% of open source project code on average. Wow. So I sent this over to my team. I said, are we fuzzing? Or can we be fuzzers or have our stuff fuzz tested or whatever the word may be? How about you? Are you doing any of this? If you drive an EV, Google will stop showing gas stations to you. I guess you don't need one, right? Google Maps reportedly demoted gas stations in the points of interest categories listed for electric vehicle owners while using Android Auto. Google confirmed the changes. And I guess they need to find chargers instead. Definitely need them around here. Senators are urging the FTC to probe alleged children privacy violations by Google. Not surprisingly, Senator Ed Markey, Democrat of Massachusetts, and Marsha Blackburn, Republican of Tennessee, asked the FTC to investigate YouTube on evidence the video platform may have violated federal children privacy laws. So the Senator's letters to agents follows the New York Times report and research by ad transparency platform Analytics that found YouTube ad targeting system served ads for adults on videos designated for children, potentially incidentally leading to the collection of data on users under 13. According to the Times report, Analytics found that more than 300 ads for adult products on nearly 100 YouTube videos that platform designed as made for kids. Clicking on the ads sent users to web pages that contain trackers, potentially leading to collection of the data. This show, live, and everything I do is never marked made for kids. This content is never made for kids. It can be consumed by kids, but is not made for kids. You usually stay pretty G around here. We don't get on the edge too often. Sometimes PG-13 and rarely R. Amazon tests new star rating that are harder to read. And under the new system, when you're browsing search results, Amazon will show an average star rating as a number, then a singular gold star, and then in parentheses next to star, what percentage of reviews are 5-star. The change is a bit easier to understand in an image. Just give me the ranking. Don't show me how many people gave a 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. It's over in the left-hand corner. And they list it, 4.3, 3.7. They show like 4.3, 5-star at 69%. So it's a little interesting in what they're doing here. So let me know if you see this in your Amazon search results. Cruise autonomous vehicle got stuck in wet concrete in San Francisco. Well, this is going to be expected. It drove into a Chinese pour, and so if it's a road, there's these things are going to happen, and I'm sure that the folks from Cruise are going to have to pay for some additional concrete, I guess, per se. It is kind of a funny picture with the vehicle drove into an area that you can see is under construction with cones. I bet they were doing the pour and didn't have the end of the people who was driving up would probably see it, but they probably had their trucks backing into the place where they're doing the pour, and when the truck pulled away, the Cruise vehicle came in. I'm assuming that's how it drove into the wet stuff. This is an X article is real curious. U.S. Space Force finally creates targeting unit. So you would think, what is a targeting unit? Well, a targeting unit, everyone has a targeting unit. Any intelligence group, any, targets, things you're going to destroy, blow up, those kinds of things. But apparently it's taken a few years, but U.S. Space Force finally has a unit dedicated to target analysis, development, and, of course, engagement. And the 75th ISRS conducts advanced analytics on adversary Space Force and counter Space Force threats. He describes Space Force as any space capability used by a nation. So they're going to be able to have orbital and suborbital target lists now by these analysis. And of course, most of the time they're just doing briefs. This is where this is located. This is what it can do. This is where it should be on the rank of a takedown if there's going to be some sort of an issue, or if we're going to war. They basically, there is a strike list. It basically is prioritized. This goes first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and it gets pretty granular the deeper it goes down. Ever wonder what SEO is? Well, SEO is changing in a big way. And I'm not going to get into this article, but if you ever want a kind of a 411 on search engine optimization, and this article to me smells like it was written by an AI just by the length of it. So what is SEO? Understanding SEO basics. Someone's trying to garner the Google search engine here. And it's long. It's a 20-minute read. That's how deep it is. So just before warn, it looks like it was written by an AI to me. And then, of course, there's is artificial intelligence artificial? Talks about neural networks, tries to break that down. This, again, is very thin on content. It's a 3-minute read. A lot of stuff popping up in Medium that is not, again, I'll talk about it, but I'm not going to get too deep into it here. Meanwhile, Opera has introduced AI Chatbot Area to its iPhone and iPad browser app. Area adds information retrieval and content creation, real-time updates on current events, opt-in experience empowers user choices. Area learns from the web data. Opera follows Microsoft and Google and AI, and it continues innovation to maintain relevance in the competitive marketplace. So what these search engines react on, especially on YouTube, when you're on YouTube, it looks for current events. If you're doing a YouTube video and you're talking about something that happened today and it goes out, they rank you higher than something that's happened last week. Whereas Google search, it's more kind of cumulative over time. So they're trying to get the latest news to you at the earliest possible convenience. That's what they're really trying to do with a lot of this stuff, too. We already heard about Meta's personas, these AI-powered chatbots, and the first one's going to be Abraham Lincoln. And the person offers search functionality and recommendations. So I don't fully understand why we're going to have a chatbot that's going to be like Abraham Lincoln. It's supposed to be wise. I guess they're maybe thinking it's people get the opinion that it's wise. The person is wise and is well knowledge. Maybe that is. But imagine a discourse having a chat with Abraham Lincoln. And of course, if you ask Abraham Lincoln about anything in the modern age, you might become a little confused and stutter. Chrome, yes, Chrome, the browser, will soon explain exactly why an extensions were removed. I've seen this happen from time to time. An extension is gone. I go to add it, and it's not even there anymore. But apparently, with this new update, you receive a notification. One of three things occur. Developer unpublished an extension, if it's marked as malware, or if it's removed from Chrome Web Store due to a policy violation, such as hate speech or spyware. You won't receive a notification if Google's given the developer time to fix or appeal. So these notifications will appear in the privacy and security tab of Chrome setting under a section called Safety Check. So just be aware that it's forthcoming. Lamborghini, not that I can afford one, teases its first all-electric supercar. It's going to be revealed tomorrow in Monterey during Car Week. They've given a little bit hint of what it's going to look like. But yes, those of you that can figure 6 and 7 can afford 6 or 7 figure vehicles. We'll see what Lamborghini has to offer. So over on the register, ISP ads are misleadingly implied existence of 6G. This has happened in the UK. Despite diagrams and in-depth descriptions of exactly how its full fiber directly to your home fixed line product works, UK ISP 6G internet is hot water after an ads regulator ruled consumers may have thought it was offering a non-existent future mobile technology because it's called 6G internet. They said, hey, we've had this company name for more than 10 years, having incorporated England and Wales in 2013. But they said it had noted ads in the question made reference to full fiber speed broadband only, but the customers might see it differently. So they're going to have to disclose we're not wireless. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, because a lot of people are not that smart. So I don't know how this made the list today. Have any of you used the conservative Amazon alternative Public SQ? I don't even know. I didn't know this site even existed. I wasn't familiar with it, but Public SQ says they may reach profitability in 2024. I don't think I was even aware of this. Also, are you participating in community notes on X? Well, this guy spent a huge amount of time writing this up and talking about the formulas and what it takes to have good community notes. For those of you that are interested, it might be a good one. And finally, do you love white noise podcasts? I didn't know there was so much money in white noise. I kind of knew, but these white noise podcasts, have you ever listened to one? Do you listen to one on Spotify? If you do, this is what I want you to use on Spotify. I want you to, matter of fact, you can set white noise podcast to play 24/7 if you want. An internal document shows that white noise podcasts account for 3 million daily consumption hours on the platform, costing Spotify $38 million a year because they're being hosted on their free platform. And they were going to kind of deplatform them. But some of the white noise creators have noticed some monkey business going on. So I think I should just make some white noise. I could turn on some AM AM station that doesn't exist and get the the crackle from the AM radio and just record that in a loop and start putting that out as a podcast. Those people were making money. So I guess if you have ocean or eagles or, birds or whatever it may be, I guess they were looking to ban white noise podcasts so they wouldn't spend that money on that host. See, they're having to host that media. And that media is expensive. When you're delivering 3 million downloads a day of that very long, very big content, that adds up. It costs money to deliver that media. So, interesting. Anyway, I'm not telling you to do that, but, maybe. All right, that is going to wrap me up here. Geeknews@gmail.com. Geeknews@gmail.com is the email address to send your comments in. I'll be back here in the studio a week from Monday. I'm gone all next week. And August 28th, I'll be back here in the studio for another edition of the Geek News Central podcast. And then smooth sailing all the way until the end of September. And then out to go see my daughter and the newborn and go from there. I might be going, see what I got to do is I got to see my kids. Haven't seen my kids in a while. So I might be doing the full roundabout. Go to Oregon to see my son. Maybe fly out to Hawaii to see Chris. Maybe come back to Florida to see Natalie. It's kind of in my initial planning plan. So a couple weeks or something like that in October, potentially. So yet TBD. And I got to see if it's in a budget, too. So that's a big part of it as well. Airplane tickets right now are crazy expensive. So, all right, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. I'll be back with you again week from Monday. Have a great week. Gave you that one podcast to listen to, that AI or the Macon one. Don't get permanently hooked over there. We want you back here when I get back. But I'll see you then when I get back. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time here in the Geek News Central podcast. Take care. Bye-bye. I'm out. See you later.